Good morning, everyone. It is Friday. Happy Friday. End of the week at long last. Friday, February 8th, 5:45 a.m. I am Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators. And I want to remind you, as I always do, to please like, comment, and subscribe. If you find these videos useful, let us know. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you like, what we could do more of, what we could do better, etc. All right, let's jump into the S&P 500, which finally, at long last, we're getting possibly that retracement I've been waiting for. This has been a while in coming. We've had just this incredibly low volatility compared to the past. We've had a lot less volatility. A little itty bitty brief moments here and there, but for the most part, just kind of grinding its way upwards. And finally, yesterday we had a fairly decent down day, and today, at the moment anyway, looking like there's a little bit of strength to the downside. Nothing, overwhelming or anything, but it looks like we may finally be retracing. So if we are going to retrace, then let me see here. We could be looking at something like this, because we already previously we reached the 61.8% of this entire down move, right? We reached that 61.8 extension, actually even overshot it just a little tiny bit. And now we are pulling back. And so where might we pull back to? Well, if we look at the second leg here of this move, then we can say that we might pull back to somewhere in this neighborhood, somewhere between 50 and 61.8, somewhere around there. Now, it's possible, if we've got a very, very strong market, that maybe this retracement stalls out at 38.2 and bounces from there. And if that happens, then the next push up is likely to be very, very strong. So we'll want to watch for a takeout of these highs here, this triple top, and maybe further momentum to the upside. But if, on the other hand, we pull back to the sort of normal or expected, somewhere between like 50 and 61.8, somewhere around there, then the move very well could possibly stall out again in this area. And that is actually kind of what I would expect, given that we've got a triple top here. There's obvious resistance, but it did stall out 3 times. The fourth time could break through. You kick a wall enough times, and eventually you're going to put a hole in it. So we'll have to see what happens if the market can get back up to that level. But anyway, right now, anyhow, the market is trying to turn around, trying to retrace, which is a good thing for a healthy uptrend. If we want this to be the low and this to be the higher low, and if we want the market to continue marching upwards, we need a pullback. It needs to cool off. People need to take profits, and we need to establish another higher low. So that is what I am looking for. Right now, anyway, though, on the big picture, daily basis, uptrend is still very much intact. So if you are a longer term trader and you're looking to add to positions, looking to go long, now is a good time to just wait and let the market settle down and establish that higher low somewhere, and then start to move higher before you start jumping into new positions. On the 60-minute, you can see here that it definitely broke the rising trend line that I had drawn from back here. So right this moment anyway, in fact, I am going to go ahead and delete that line and just get rid of it. There we go. So we've got a number of resistance points, and support points at this point. They were resistance points on the way up, and now they're support points. Interestingly enough, the 26.22 is where the 38.2 retracement is, and 26.22 is just a little bit above this zone here, and 25.86 is right in this zone, and 25.51 is just a little ways, it kind of just a little bit below, kind of actually right smack in the middle, more or less, of these two zones. So anyway, there's a lot of support. We've got a lot of stuff down here that could act as support. So I'm expecting to see that happen on the way down, assuming the market even gets down this low. And again, it might not. It might stall out somewhere in this area here, past kind of congestion areas, and march higher. So we'll have to just see what happens. Just how strong is this market? Is this really the beginnings of a new bull market? If it is, then we might see some significant strength and need to play it accordingly. But if this is just the retracement in a down move. Remember, I retraced from here to here and got the 61.8, which was like right there. So if this is really just a larger, bigger picture bear market, and we are in a downtrend, then this was just a healthy retracement, and then it's time to move lower. And we'll know that's what's going on if this low is taken out. Then that would definitely mean a move further downside to the market, and things will likely get a little bit ugly at that point. But we're a ways away from that, so we'll just have to give it some time to see what's going to happen. Right this moment, intraday, you can clearly see on the 60 trend is down. So if you play the long side only right now, step aside and wait, and just give it time to turn around. If you play both directions, then now's a good time to start getting ready for those shorts. Watch for a takeout of this low here, and that would definitely suggest continued push to the downside. So take advantage of it. All right, let's take a peek at crude oil. And crude has come right down to this trend line and held. Poked below it, bounced above, poked below it, bounced above. And right now it's just right on that rising trend line. So it looks like this uptrend is trying to hold. I still would prefer to see a bit of a pullback just for healthy trend purposes. I would like to see it, come down somewhere like maybe here-ish and then march higher, take out this high and keep on going. But right now, anyway, it is still really in this area, still kind of stuck in that congestion zone. Made one little very momentary attempt at getting over it, but didn't hold and pulled right back down to the trend line. And right now, sideways. There just is not a clear-cut trend direction. Now, if this trend line holds, though, and we start marching along it, then you've got the potential for a long entry. You could put your stop just outside the trend line there, something like that, or maybe just below the lows, maybe back here, something like that, depending on what your risk tolerance is. And then you're just looking for it to break that high. And if it can just do that, then there's going to be some continued momentum to the upside, and so we can take advantage of that. But as I said, I would like to see a pullback. I would like to see a healthy retracement to a reasonable level, like 50% or something like that. Would be great, and take us down to maybe here-ish, something like that, to around 50. I'd love to see a pullback to 50, and then march higher from there. Intraday, we do have a push to the upside. It reversed, market bottomed here, reversed, made a higher low, and actually did break out the previous lower high, but has come down right now and is flirting with it. Right this instant, it's holding above it, so that's a good sign for the bulls. We might, in fact, have some momentum to the upside yet, but we need to kind of see if this break can actually continue and head higher. And if it can do that, then it's certainly got overhead stuff to get over. It's got to get through this area. It's got to get through this area. So there's a lot of work ahead of oil, but it certainly has been bouncing around between these zones for a while, and then finally got down to this bottom zone. Just barely poked below it and then came right back up again. So right now, intraday is trying to work its way upwards, and it is establishing a short-term time frame uptrend. But on the bigger 60-minute trend, we're still not there yet. We've got to take out this level here to really signify that the trend has truly reversed, and that there is going to be some kind of significant upside ahead. And even that, then of course, it's got to take out this, and it's got to take out that. So it's got a lot of work ahead of it. Where we've got to see what it wants to do. But right this instant, anyway, it's looking like the short-term trend is trying to reverse. You can see the 21 EMA is kind of hooking around. It's wanting to go sideways, and if it can do that for a little while and actually start to turn upwards, then we can see the beginnings of a bigger upwards move that we might be able to capitalize on to the long side. All right, let's look at gold. And gold is just still playing with this zone. It poked down below it, shot right back up into it. And right now, that's where we're at. It's just stuck in this zone. So, need to wait and see what's going to happen with the bigger market. I think that will potentially play a role in what gold does And certainly, if the larger market, broader market corrects significantly, then we might see gold march higher. And if it can take out this level here, then it's probably going to continue this pattern of higher highs and higher lows. So we do have an uptrend going on here on a daily basis. We are definitely in an uptrend. There's no question about it. So as long, it's possible that we've just made a higher low here, and as long as we hold up and take out this high here, then we can continue to march higher and continue this pattern of higher highs and higher lows. And then this is the next target to take out. So it's got to basically hop over this zone, probably test it as support, and then continue higher. That is what ideally we would like to see. No question about it. The trend direction very, very clearly up. On the 60-minute, we had a little momentary downtrend here, just a little bit of a pullback. And now we have reversed with a vengeance, bottomed out here right at the top of this zone here, and have established a higher low. And now we are working on taking this level out. So right now, short term, the trend is up, no question, and with some conviction too. I mean, we had a really beautiful move the last few hours this morning, and right now, if it can take out this level, then this likely uptrend, or this uptrend here rather, is likely to continue. So watch for that. That's our key level we want to watch for, is that high right there to the bull side. And, of course, if this move were to fail and take out this low, then, they could continue lower. But right now, the uptrend is looking pretty strongly in place at this point. This is established a very nice, very clean bottom, and the higher low after that. All right, natural gas is continuing to grind its way lower. It did get below the bottom of this big blue box. So this whole congestion area that I've talked about so many times finally gave way, and nat gas was able to get below it. So now, next level to the downside is right here, and after that, the real zone is down here. That's really ideally what we would love to see hold, as far as some kind of a bounce and then play to the long side. We'd love to see that level hold, but keep in mind. Let me actually blow this chart up full screen if it will. It won't let me do it. That's unique. There we go. I can do it that way. Ha. So keep something in mind here. Let me change this real quick and add a whole bunch more data. I'm going to go back 15 years. Okay, 15 years of daily data. And the reason I'm going to do that is this. So take a look. Right now, natural gas, we're down at 2.59, right? But if I scroll back a good number of years, if I go back to 2004, look where it was, 30, right? I mean, it has been nothing but downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. No question about it. This market has been in a brutal downtrend for a good long time. And we were having a conversation about this actually yesterday in our premium chat room. And one of our members there, William, who's on these analyses most of the time. And if you're here, hi, William. We were talking about this, and he pointed out, because he trades natural gas and has for a very long time, it's not a market that I personally trade, that production has gotten so much more effective and more efficient and more cost effective, everything more new technology, et cetera, which has meant supply has been greater, which of course, supply and demand, right? More supply, lower prices. And it's very much in line with what's going on in the oil market, right? With fracking, making previously unobtainable oil obtainable, and just making it easier to get, easier to extract, and more cost effective. And that, of course, also drives prices down. And we're seeing the same thing in natural gas. So, I was looking at how high it used to be and just thinking, wow, what would cause such a brutal downtrend? Because, there's people are still using natural gas, aren't they? But the increased production, increased efficiency of production, it makes a lot of sense. So I don't know if natural gas is really ever going to be able to recover, to those heights, even just to 11 here. I mean, we recently had that huge, gigantic spike, and I mean, that was only to not even 5. So unfortunately for natural gas, at least unfortunately for the natural gas bulls, it is in a very prolonged downtrend. Of course, it can only go so far, right? It can't go below 0. And at some point, there is just a realistic bottom that it cannot be breached. So at that point, I would expect to see some really nice plays to the long side. Now, where is that point? Is that point here? Oh, I don't know. It could be lower. We'll have to wait and see. But that is certainly the level you want to watch for as far as a breach goes, is this. And if that breaches, then okay, next down leg is here. So keep an eye on that. On the shorter term, of course, if you are a day trader, if you're looking to scalp, you've got shorter term levels to look for. Take out of this low, we're going to continue to the downside. Right now, it did establish a lower high and then a higher low, and then it broke that lower high. So, right this instant, there's maybe an attempt to get a little bit of an uptrend going. You can see that the one candle here is poked to the upside. So we might be seeing a bit of a retracement of this big down move. And that would be normal and healthy for a down market, is to retrace and then continue to the downside. So if we're going to see that, this could be the beginnings of it. So watch for continuation to the upside. And certainly if it can take out this high, then there's no question at all that there is going to be some continuation to the upside. But right now, anyway, look for a hold to the upside and a takeout of maybe this level here. Really, even just a hold and a takeout again above the lower high here. Previously that it's flirted with a couple times, hasn't been able to do it. So maybe the fourth, fifth time, whatever, it might be able to get above there and hold to the upside. In which case, there could be a little long day trade available, long scalp. Right now, anyway, the trend is pretty much sideways, and that might continue for a bit. We might get a little bit of sideways consolidation before being able to march higher, or maybe it gives up and heads lower. I don't know. But keep an eye on that, because a retracement would certainly be expected at this point. A nice healthy retracement would be a good thing. All right, let's finish up and talk crypto, Bitcoin. We're having a little bit of a bounce going on this rising trend line. So Bitcoin did come down, poke below that trend line, but not with any real conviction. I mean, those are some seriously small candles. And now it's bouncing to the upside. So perhaps we've got a little bit of an upside trade available. I mean, if we're in this wedge and we've got the top of the wedge here, the bottom of the wedge down here, maybe there's a trade available between these 2 points. So watch for that. Certainly a downtrend on the 60-minute, but if it can take out this level here, then we've got a real good shot at testing this level. So there's some distance to be had between those two, and might be able to get a nice scalp. And with the amount Bitcoin can move when there is some volatility in this market, which has kind of dried up, but when the volatility comes back, it moves fast and furious. So if you're positioned correctly to take advantage of it, there's a lot of gains to be had very, very quickly. So mostly just we're looking for higher highs and higher lows. On the bigger picture, we don't really have it. We had the low down here, we have the lower high here, and then we've just been stuck in between those two levels. There's been no real trend, no real conviction in either direction. It's just been kind of sideways to down, and now we've got this wedge developing. Technically, you can see pretty clearly the trend is still down. The 21 EMA is pointing downwards. So, the trend is down on the bigger picture, but lower lows and lower highs, or higher highs and higher lows. And right now, we just don't have that. So if there is going to be one more push to the downside, which is possible, then I would expect to see a test of this level, and then I would expect to see that level break, and then Bitcoin to head lower. But if this level holds, then we very well may have put in a bottom. And with the way Bitcoin is behaving, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to grind like this, low volatility. It could potentially do this for the rest of the year. Nobody has any way to really know that. It seems like there's not a huge amount of participation in the Bitcoin market the way there has been in the past. So perhaps everybody got freaked out by last year's just brutal bear market. And it may take some time before the buyers are willing to step their toes back into this market, or before new buyers who never participated before get excited about it. We'll have to see, especially what happens once the institutions are allowed to come in, which will be supposedly happening this year in the next couple of months. So very keen to see what Bitcoin is going to do when that happens. Do we get a buy the rumor situation where we see Bitcoin rally like crazy into those events happening, and then a sell-off when they actually are announced, sell the news? Or does it happen kind of without fanfare and the institutions can just quietly start buying up, and nobody, on the retail side really starts paying attention until price has shot up significantly. That would fit. That's typically what happens. The institutions get on board with something, and the retail public isn't really paying attention until the price has already gotten overinflated, and then the institutions can happily sell to the retail public to take their profits. And then that drives price down, and then the cycle repeats. So we might see the same thing happen here in Bitcoin. We'll have to just give it some time to play out. But right this instant, anyway, I mean, you could short-term time frame, you could draw a trend line maybe like this, something along those lines, and there's your line. All right, if you want to see continuation to the upside, see some kind of bullishness come in, then we got to get over that line. Something like that would be a good first indication. But really, ideally, we're looking at lower lows and lower highs being broken. So we want to see Bitcoin get over those levels. If it can, then the next level is the target. All right, one last glimpse at ES, S&P 500. No big surprise. Nothing tremendous has happened in the last 15 minutes. So we'll leave it at that. I'm going to go get ready for the trading day. Get ready to go jump into the premium chat room at 6:30. So if any of our members are on this analysis, then I will look forward to seeing you in that room in about, 25 minutes or so. All right, that's it, everybody. Again, I'm Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators, reminding you to like, comment, and subscribe. Give us feedback. Let us know what you think of these videos and if they are helpful to you or what else you'd like to see. All right, use good stops, good money management, good position size, all that good stuff, and trade well. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.